Welcome back to the Sports News Analysis YouTube channel, where I'm always breaking down the hot sports topics of the day. My name is Mike. I'm continuing my 2013 7-round NFL mock draft with the third round, picks 21 through 32. Picks 1 through 20 of the third round are already up, as are rounds 1 and 2, so be sure to check those out. And as always, guys, be sure to subscribe to my channel here to get all of my daily sports talk videos uploaded directly to your feed here on YouTube. Let's get right to it. Pick number 21 in the third round belongs to the Minnesota Vikings. The Vikings have a need, I feel, in the up-the-middle parts of their defense, whether it be in their linebacking core, defensive tackle, or at the safety position, someone to play alongside Harrison Smith. I think they use this pick to, really take care of their needs at the linebacker position. With the lackluster play they got from the position last year, I think they know they need to address it. Trevardo Williams from Connecticut makes sense here. I said his teammate Cy Moore will go a little bit before Williams, but I think Williams, in the fit that he will have in this Vikings defense, I think makes a lot of sense here, and I think he can go a long way in sort of revamping those linebacking core. If the Vikings want to make a return trip to the playoffs, this linebacking core has to basically perform better, and I look for Williams to help them in that respect. Pick number 22 in this round belongs to the Cincinnati Bengals. The Bengals, too, are in need of a linebacker. Okay? They got lucky with Vontae's Burfict last year, but with the disappointing play of Ray Maliuga, who is probably going to leave Cincinnati via free agency, they need an injection of some talent there in their linebacking core. I had them taking a safety in the first round of this draft, a running back in the second round, and here's where I think they address their linebacker needs, and I think Sean Porter is here, an outside linebacker from Texas A&M. A lot of the Texas A&M talk revolves around Demontre Moore, Luke Jokel, of course, and Ryan Swope. But this is a guy here in Porter that was a good player for them, a steady player for them, and I think he'll be the same at the next level and fit in good to what Marvin Lewis and the boys do defensively down there in Cincinnati. Pick number 23 of this round belongs to the Redskins. Yet again, another team looking for linebacker help, more in particular, middle linebacker help. Some people have Nico Johnson slotted in the fourth round. We're getting towards the end of the third round here. He's a Nick Saban guy, a very smart player, a very experienced player at Alabama. I think he's one of these guys who exceeds expectations once he gets to the pro level. Think of like D'Amico Ryans, especially at the beginning of his career, how he came in so prepared. From playing in the SEC and playing a lot of games at Alabama. I look for Nico Johnson to be that same kind of player. And really be a guy that whatever team he lands with will be a real gem. So Nico Johnson at pick number 23 of the third round here to the Redskins. Pick number 24 in this round belongs to the Colts. The Colts didn't have a second round pick. The first round pick, I had them addressing their needs at defensive tackle. Andrew Luck is the present and the future of this team. They need to get better guards in front of him. The Jeff Lincolnbachs of the world are just not going to cut it long term. Brian Winters, the guard from Kent State, good fit here. I think he's a guy who can be a plug-and-play guy right from day one. Be that 7 to 10 year guy that is maybe there. For Andrew Luck's whole career. You have him now. You'll have Anthony Costanzo, and you can begin to build a line around those two guys, two sort of building blocks there moving forward for the Colts. Pick number 25 overall in this round belongs to the Seahawks. The Seahawks, again, I've been saying this every pick, same thing as the 49ers. They're just pretty much addressing specific needs that they have, and I think they do have a need at defensive end from a depth standpoint. John Simon, from Ohio State, should be here at this point. Again, solid player in the Big Ten, very experienced guy, was a key part of that defense along with John Hankins that played very well for Urban Meyer this year. A lot of people forget that Ohio State went undefeated You got a guy like Simon, kept on plugging away all year, even though him and his teammates knew they couldn't play in a bowl game. I think there's something to be said for that. And I think Simon's not going to be an incredible player at the pro level, but he'll be a solid guy that could grow into a starter and at least be a part of a rotation or fill in for an injury here early in his career. So John Simon, defensive end from Ohio State in the third round. The next pick belongs to the Packers, 26 overall here. And I think this is an interesting pick because, I think in round 3 and then round 4 especially, there's going to be a lot of running backs on the board that I think can make significant impacts on the teams they go to. The NFL has gone more to a 2-back system. And these guys can definitely complement other backs in those 2-back systems. The Packers, a lot of Packers fans that I've been talking to, they want Monty Ball. And that would make all the sense in the world because the Monty Ball's, pedigree in Wisconsin, at the University of Wisconsin. It'd be kind of storybook for him to go right to the Packers. I think, though, the Packers are going to target a guy who could catch the ball a little bit better out of the backfield and at the same time be a running threat. And the guy in this draft that fills that role the best for me is Jonathan Franklin, a running back from UCLA. Franklin's was a very good college player. It's not like he's completely off the radar. A little smaller in stature, kind of reminds me a little bit of Ray Rice. It's impossible to predict someone will have the production of Ray Rice, but when I watch him play, it reminds me a lot of him. Shifty, smaller, catches the ball really well out of the backfield, is faster than he probably looks. He's one of those guys that no one ever catches from behind, but he doesn't look that fast. One of those kind of players. So Jonathan Franklin towards the end of the third round here for the Packers to fill their needs at running back. Pick number 89 overall, 27 in the third round, belongs to the Houston Texans. The Texans, I had them addressing their wide receiver needs in the first round, their offensive tackle needs in the second round. And now, in the third round again, I think they need to address the offensive line again, most notably at guard. This is a team that's going to be based around, a steady dose of Arian Foster and that running attack. And the weak links on that line need to be addressed. I think they do it. I think they can do it in the draft. They can do it via free agency. But here, I think Alvin Bailey, from Arkansas, makes sense. Again, I just look at few teams are based around a running back. The Texans, definitely one of them. The running of Arian Foster, play action from that job, and a steady defense. The Vikings are definitely a team that's based around a running back. And, to build the infrastructure around these guys is important. And Alvin Bailey is I think, where after him this guard position really drops off in this draft. And although it's not a high position of value in the NFL in most drafts, I think here, especially for a team like the Texans, they'll value a guy like Alvin Bailey slipping to them here at the end of the third round. Pick number 28 overall in this round belongs to the Broncos. The Broncos are another team, I think, that are going to be in search of a running back. A lot of people are high on Gio Bernard, have him going in the late second, third round. I think based on needs that I see for the teams and the type of running back he is, he's only going to fit into certain schemes. And I think one of those schemes will be in Denver with the Broncos. He's a smaller, shiftier back, catches the ball well out of the backfield, something Peyton Manning is used to having from his years in Indianapolis. They have Noshawn Moreno and Willis McGahee. McGahee getting up there in age. I think Bernard can be a guy that can fill in, if someone happens to get injured next year, maybe even win a spot in that backfield next year as the season progresses. But Gio Bernard, a projected second, third round pick by most. I have him going at the end of the third here to the Broncos. Pick number 29 overall belongs to the Patriots. I have the Patriots addressing cornerback needs, safety needs. I think they addressed the cornerback position again. Connecticut's pro day was today, and people were really impressed with Sile Moore, Trevardo Williams, and another name you heard was Dwayne Gratz. Dwayne Gratz, the cornerback from UConn. A lot of times with these Big East schools, the Big East isn't on everyone's radar all year. It's kind of one of those underlier kind of conferences, even though it's a BCS conference. Unless you're an electric player like a Tavon Austin or Geno Smith, you're probably not going to get that much attention playing in the Big East. So these, quality Cornerbacks, linebackers tend to get a lot of attention from the Big East schools here leading up to the draft. You see them rise up draft boards pretty quickly, kind of like Chandler Jones from Syracuse last year. Well, I think Dwayne Gratz will be one of those guys, the cornerback from Connecticut to the Patriots here at the end of the third round. The Falcons, the Falcons are a team, again, they had needs a defensive end, I thought, running back, and I think outside linebacker as well. And a name, again, I heard a lot this week in the pro days was Devonte Holloman from South Carolina. You had several teams down there working him out at their pro day. Sort of a guy, when you play along a guy like Jadeveon Clowney, it's pretty easy to get caught in his shadow. And I think people are seeing that this happened with Holloman and that he's a quality player. And look for him to sneak into this third round here. And I just think, again, that the Falcons are a team that have a need here. And I think that he fulfills it for them. The 49ers, with some of these picks, if they do keep most of them, they could take some risks. And possibly the biggest risk-reward player in this draft, in my mind, is Tyrann Mathieu, the cornerback, kick returner, punt returner from LSU. Ted Ginn's a free agent. I don't see, Ted Ginn is such a one-dimensional player. He only returns kicks and punts. He's not a, receiver. A guy in Mathieu, I think, is a good fit for the 49ers because I think they'll be able to handle him from an attitude standpoint. I think he upgrades he upgrades them in the punt return and kick return games. And, if there's one place where the 49ers struggled in the Super Bowl, it was in the secondary. It was Chris Culliver. It's the fact that Carlos Rogers is getting up there in age. I could see that being a need eventually for them. And at worst, I look at Mathieu as being a guy who could cover people in the slot. I'm kind of the thinking, as are a lot of people, that he might have trouble playing on the outside in the NFL. But covering guys in the slot, being a part of nickel and dime packages, and being a dynamic playmaking player on special teams, whether it's blocking kicks, returning punts, returning kicks, there's a value for those guys in the NFL, especially when he can play on defense in specialty packages. So Tyrann Mathieu, a lot of people have been asking me about him. I like him to go here at the end of the third round to the 49ers. The Ravens have the last pick in the third round. I had them addressing their inside linebacker needs. I had them taking a receiver in the second round. They need to take a safety at some point in this draft. TJ McDonald is there for them from USC. Is he Ed Reed? No one can predict anyone would be like an Ed Reed. He's truly one of a kind. He's a first ballot Hall of Famer. But TJ McDonald, the Ravens have a tendency to draft guys. You may not hear about them for a couple of years, but then all of a sudden, when they need these guys to step in, they step in and play well for them. See Donnell Ellerbe, Paul Kruger, and the list goes on. Bart Scott when he was there. Ladarius Webb. Okay? I think TJ McDonald can be another one of these guys that even if they pick up a veteran to play free safety this year, that TJ McDonald from USC can be a nice fit in that Ravens defense long term. That's where I see picks 21 through 32 of the third round sort of ending up here. I'll be back here with round 4 either later tonight or definitely tomorrow. Be sure to check that out. Be sure to hit me up on Twitter at SNewsAnalysis. And guys, again, subscribe and get all these videos delivered directly to your feed here on YouTube. Thanks as always for listening, guys. Look forward to hearing your comments here, and have a great day.